It's been over 100 days now since Keir Starmer's government has been in charge of the UK. We've learned many things. One thing that leaps out to me is that Keir Starmer has been unprepared for the role of leadership. I'll explain in a little while what I think has been going on and is going on. Before I do that, let me take you back to early August this year, 2024. Recently, the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, has stated that the winter heating payments will be withdrawn for pensioners, so that the winter fuel will no longer be subsidised, so the payment thereof. And that's concerning, that's worrying. But maybe she can defend that by opening the books and showing us the workings and saying this is why. To date, we haven't seen the workings. And indeed, a few weeks after making that video, I talked about this. Reeves defends, that's Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, £4,400 heating claim for second home amid pensioner winter fuel payment cuts. And that certainly wasn't or isn't good optics. Let's now look at an exchange between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer.
So can I very specifically ask the Prime Minister, will he now publish the impact assessment before the House rises?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is this. They left a £22 billion black hole.
Very simply again, why won't he publish the assessment now?
Mr. Speaker, I remember the days when the Conservative Party used to be concerned about balancing the books.
But we know why he's hiding the impact assessment. The Labour Party's own previous analysis claimed that this policy could cause 3,850 deaths. So are the numbers in his impact assessment higher or lower than that?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we're taking this decision to stabilise the economy.
Today, pensioners watching will have seen that the Prime Minister has repeatedly refused to admit or to publish the consequences of his decision.
Well, there doesn't seem to have been an increase in openness and transparency and a reduction in obfuscation. However, there's some hope because at the Labour Party conference, the unions win a non-binding vote on winter fuel cuts. Well, yeah, a hollow victory, however. That non-binding part, that seems to be unfortunate because they've won the vote, but Sir Keir isn't for budging. Then we have this interesting anecdote from a journalist who actually didn't mean to challenge, apparently, challenged Keir Starmer.
Wanted to talk to him was about the bigger point. I didn't want to get into a row about tickets for football or whether he should claim this flat and go and live there with his family. What I was trying to say is, do you understand how it looks when you present yourself as one thing and then you allow a perception to build that you're just like the others? You're taking freebies. At one point I said to him, some people might think this is continuity Johnson, you're taking freebies from rich friends. He was absolutely furious with me. It was really uncomfortable, but I'm there to ask the questions, and I imagine that if the shoe had been on the other foot and this was a Conservative Prime Minister doing this and he was the leader of the opposition, he would have absolutely expected that person to face scrutiny and answer questions on it.
It vexes me. I'm terribly vexed.
And of course we've had the whole scandal about the freebies. Probably best to let Rosie Duffield explain a little bit about that.
And then all these stories started coming out. And I thought, well, at first it's just a lot of fuss about nothing because we're in power and of course she's on the other foot. But as more and more and more came out and rumours that didn't come out were also circulating around the Labour Party, because of course not everyone sees everything, not everything makes the headlines. I just thought, I can't do this. And, you know, all of my colleagues, the morale was just on the floor. As
you may recall, Rosie Duffield resigned. Here's a little quote from what she wrote in her resignation letter. You have never regularly engaged with your own backbench MPs, many of whom have been in Parliament far longer than you, and some of whom served in the previous Labour government. You have chosen neither to seek our individual political opinions, nor learn about our constituency experiences, nor our specific or collective areas of political knowledge. We clearly have nothing you deem to be of value. And then we have this interview. Keir Starmer is repeatedly asked to apologise to those pensioners who will now no longer be receiving their winter fuel payments.
She has arthritis. She estimates her fuel bills are about to go up by £40 a month this winter, and she is dreading it because she does not feel she's going to be able to put the heating on. She voted for you, but she feels let down. Would you like to take this opportunity to say sorry to pensioners like Chrissy?
Well, I am really concerned that we've been put in this position.
I just want to stick with this point about pensioners like Chrissy. And I asked you, would you like to take this opportunity to say sorry to voters who voted for you, like Chrissy, pensioners who are about to lose hundreds this winter because of your choices?
What I'd say to Chrissy is this. I absolutely promised that we would stabilise the economy to make sure we never had the economy getting out of control again.
Just because I've asked you a couple of times and you have just skirted around it, I did ask, would you like to take this opportunity to say sorry to the pensioners who feel hurt and less well off, certainly not better off, because you've taken away their winter fuel allowance? Would you like to say sorry?
The people who should be saying sorry are the last government who left a hole of £22 billion. And they should be sorry for that. They should apologise for that.
So you're not going to apologise?
I've come in to fix the mess, fix the problems.
We've only got a
£460
couple of minutes left, and people will notice you have not said sorry for making a difficult choice. You had the opportunity to, but you haven't said sorry for making what is, people acknowledge, a difficult choice.
Before I talk about that video, let me quickly jump to this article and read a small section of it. This week, as the 100th day of Starmer's government approached, it was impossible not to compare the sense of drift with the dynamic early months of Tony Blair's Labour premiership in 1997, which followed a brisk route map of policy announcements. Government is not just about the technocratic delivery of policy and change, Alistair Campbell, Blair's former press secretary, told the BBC when he was asked about the performance of the new government. It's about the relentless, endless, never-ending conversation that you're having with the country about what you are trying to do for the country. And I think it's fair to say that that bit has been largely missing. I don't always agree with Alistair Campbell, but in this instance I agree entirely. That conversation has been totally missing. And I believe that one of the reasons for that is because of the way that Keir Starmer thinks about leadership. Keir Starmer's concept of leadership is not actually a concept of leadership. It's a concept of management, actually bad management. His style appears to be quite dictatorial, quite authoritarian, perhaps quite technocratic, one could argue. Why might that be the case? And why would he not say in that interview, "I'm sorry"? I think the answer to both of those questions lies in his previous incarnation as a legal expert. He's an expert, according to many people, really knows his stuff, would be able to pick through complex information, come to conclusions, get insights that many others might not have gotten. So what happens in that type of situation? Well, he's applauded, he's lauded, and no doubt quite rightly so. And one could argue that's a style, a form of leadership, but it's a style and a form of leadership that is very much context dependent. If you've ever seen anyone in a business or an organisation who's been promoted because of their expertise, because of their experience, sometimes it can go really well. Other times it can go quite badly because that individual doesn't understand leadership. They think they're there to tell people what to do. And if people don't do what they're told, well, they can get metaphorically clubbed. I'm the expert. I know what I'm doing. That's why I'm here. Just do what I'm telling you to do. And Keir hasn't really had any preparation when you think about it. He's watched other politicians, not always a good idea, not always good role models to follow. And where then has he been in a leadership position where he's had to win the hearts and minds? Answer, as far as I'm aware, he hasn't. And so he doesn't understand that those conversations are important. He doesn't understand that you need to get people on side. It's not about saying, I know what I'm talking about, I'm clever, so just do what I'm telling you to do. And then that inability to say sorry is also, I believe, his legal mind at work. If I say sorry, then I'm culpable. Then I'm guilty. I can't say that. And that £22 billion fiscal black hole, well, it's their fault. It's not mine. Keir, people can hold more than one idea in their head at any given point of time. We know that, well, you've told us at least that that black hole is to do with the last government. So, okay, we still don't have the details, but okay. In saying sorry, you're not admitting guilt. You're showing humanity. In saying, yeah, I am sorry. I feel absolutely dreadful about it. I've lost a lot of sleep. We looked at this every which way. You can't imagine how late we would stay up night after night trying to figure out a way not to penalise these pensioners in this way, because it does feel like we're penalising them. I'm aware of that. I hate it. But when we show you the extent and the detail of that £22 billion fiscal black hole, you will understand why. In the interim, all I can tell you is I am deeply sorry that we had to do this. And okay, that might not be perfect. That might not have been what he would have said. But even just 10% of that would have gone a long way to helping him connect with people. And he's not connecting.